Welcome to this session on productive academic reading. A typical question we are asked by students is this: how do we read academic papers and journal articles? Is there a particular way to do it and to do it well? The reason being that there's so many papers to read at any one point in time, and you don't really have the luxury of reading from cover to cover. So let's dive in. I will introduce to you a three-step approach to productive academic reading. Firstly, we need to identify the type of paper we are reading. Secondly, establish why on earth we are reading it. And thirdly, to begin to approach it to read it critically. The very first step in productive academic reading is to identify the type of paper that you are currently reading. So you can do that by reading the abstract to get an idea of whether it is either an empirical paper or conceptual paper. Basically, an empirical paper is any research study whereby the conclusions are drawn from the evidence that is verified by observation or experience rather than just a discussion or assertion or pure logic. So it involves usually a phenomenon that's observable and measurable, and it can be both quantitative or qualitative. On the other hand, a conceptual paper is one that is generally related to abstract ideas or concepts, and it does not really involve any practical experiments. So a philosophical research study would be such an example. In this paper by Nicole and McFarland-Dick 2006 that's entitled Formative Assessment and Self-Regulated Learning, a Model and 7 Principles of Good Feedback Practice. From the title and if you read the abstract, you will find that it is a more conceptual paper as opposed to an empirical paper. Conceptual papers can be divided into descriptive, categorical, provocative, and rebuttal. So here, this is an example of a categorical paper, whereby it's one where the argument is explicit and unambiguous. And here, the authors argue for 7 principles of feedback practice for self-regulation, and you can take it literally from their point of view, there are only 7 principles. And in this paper by Ronald Barnett, Assessment in Higher Education, an Impossible Mission, it is a provocative paper because it's one that the author wants to provoke your thinking. And here it suggests that assessment has an impossible mission. So you shouldn't interpret that it's literally not possible for assessment to achieve its mission, but the author wants to provoke you to think along those lines. Right, let's do a hands-on practice. Have a go at reading the abstract of this paper and identify the category that it belongs to. So this title of the paper is Asking Questions of What Assessment Should Do for Learning, the Case of Bite-Sized Assessment for Learning in Singapore. So what do you think? Would you agree that Tan 2017 it's more an empirical paper? And how can you tell? So here, from just reading the abstract, you know that it is a study of a phenomenon. So it will fall under the category of an empirical study. Once you have identified the type of paper that you are currently reading, whether is it empirical or conceptual, then we need to establish why are you reading the paper for, okay? And there are typically three reasons why you want to read a particular paper. Firstly, to understand the development of a concept, and that's where the conceptual papers may be helpful. To support or critique an argument, and that's where you can draw on both conceptual and empirical papers to formulate your argument. And also thirdly, to search for a particular quote to support a particular point of view. So once you have established the purpose for reading, then you can begin to think about how you want to approach the reading in a critical manner. Firstly, you want to read the abstract and the conclusion, and you begin to formulate questions you want to answer before reading the paper. That is to focus your attention on exactly what you are looking for or you want to find out based on your understanding of what is written in the abstract and conclusion. Then you begin to read actively to search for answers to your questions. And you can begin to question the writing as you read by asking what is the author assuming, or what could be certain agenda he or she is advocating behind the claims and assertions that's being made. So for example, he may be advocating for fairness in assessment, and you'll find certain assumptions he makes or certain strong words or stand that he undertakes. As you read, begin to formulate your own opinion. How does these ideas or these theories fit in to your context, the Singapore context or other contexts? Or to what extent it can be helpful in understanding some of the things that we observe or challenges that we see that's currently being enacted in the classroom. So have a go at reading TAN 2017, and as you're doing that, make notes, annotate at the side questions you have, what are your observations, and what do you notice about the author's ideas that might help you understand certain issues or challenges you observe in your context. Okay, and after you have done that, you will find an annotated exemplar for you to compare with another student's work. To what extent annotations is helpful in unpacking a complex paper and to make sense of it as you're reading. So enjoy the process.